Next in studio, Alex Karydi.
Thank you for having me.
And you're with the South Carolina Youth Suicide Prevention Initiative.
Yes.
Yes. And if you would please introduce yourself to those who may not know you, and we'll talk a little bit about your initiative.
Okay. So we are the South Carolina Youth Suicide Prevention Initiative. And we're also known as SciSpy for short.
SciSpy,
Yeah,
okay.
that's how you can find us online. Is our website is www.scispy.org.
And that's SCYSPI.
Yeah.
Cute.
SCYSPI, yeah.
Okay.
And we are an initiative to end suicide in ages 10 to 24 in the state of South Carolina. So a lot of the work that we're doing is really to bring awareness around suicide, but also to help break down the stigma around talking about death and dying and mental illness and all those important issues that we tend to hide in our society. We're trying to help start that conversation and take it to a healing place, somewhere where we can actually get help.
Tell us what the difference is between suicide among the youth as opposed to adults.
Well, a lot of the times when we're looking at suicide, we look at across the lifespan. So we look at it from birth to an age where you would die of old age. So we look at it across the lifespan. And then we also have to look at different factors that impact each age group. So the differences you would see from like a young person or a child in like middle school to high school to, let's say, a middle aged adult is that they are in different life spaces, right? Children don't have to pay mortgages. They don't have to deal with divorce and things like that the same way as that adult does. But children will be dealing with bullying, maybe substance use, trauma in the family. They'd be dealing with that divorce, but from another perspective, right? A child losing their parents in a divorce is that separation rather than losing that relationship like their parent might be. So it's just very different depending on where you are in your age, in your lifespan. What are the different risk factors you might be affected with that could create a risk for suicide?
And for the youth, it might be just a little bit different to handle the challenges that come your way.
Yeah. You know, when you're a young person, there's sometimes so little that you can do to change things. You know, it's a lot out of your control, right? So for a lot of young people, they're waiting for us to help them. They're waiting to have access to services or having those lifelines so that they can go towards them and know that they're there. So a lot of the work that we do is try to bring awareness on what those lifelines are. What are those protective factors that are out there that can help them because they might not necessarily have access to them directly on their own. So that's why we also really want to engage parents and caregivers in the work that we do so that they have that knowledge, they have that awareness, and they can get their child or their young person to the right place for help.
Right. Now, you want to get into schools and you want to get active with some engagement on this topic. So what kind of things would you like to do?
Well, with the schools in particular, you know, young people spend most of their time in school. A lot of their life in that age range is in school. So school is a really good place to start engaging some of those protective factors for those young people. So one of the first things that we do or help schools is we help them develop policies and procedures around suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention. That's really important because we don't want people to have to figure things out in a crisis. We don't want the adults kind of in charge to feel just kind of left without support, trying to figure out how to help a child without those guidelines. So we help develop those guidelines. We work with schools to see what their culture is, to see what their strengths and needs are, and we build this kind of template for them in order for them to provide the best care possible to their students.
Right. And there seems to be such a stigma still with the youth and the topic of suicide.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, I think, you know, I talk to parents all the time, and I think a lot of parents, I mean, I'm a parent, you never want to think your child is hurting like that.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's one of the issues is I think as parents, we never want to feel that out of control, that, you know, that our child is suffering. I think also the stigma is that culturally there still exists this idea that if you're mentally hurting, you must be a weak person, or you must be crazy, or you must not know you must not be smart. There's this, and it's wrong. It's not true at all, because it has nothing to do with intelligence.
Right.
It has nothing to do with strength. Your mind, your brain is an organ like any other organ, and sometimes organs, they struggle, they get sick, they hurt, and we have to heal them. So just like if somebody had a heart issue, you would tell them to go to the cardiologist.
Right.
If someone has issues that are hurting their mind, you'd want them to go seek help for those issues.
Right.
But we struggle with connecting all of that mind, body, and how it's important to take care of the whole, not just parts of it, because it's easier to talk about.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. What are some of the warning signs to look for in the youth?
So with little ones, like 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, they will seem sad, and it's kind of a sadness that is hard to get out of. Maybe they're not eating like the same way they used to. They're not enjoying the same things that they used to. They don't want to play. They might be having trouble sleeping. Maybe some big change happened in their life, like a change of school, something happened with conflict at home, anything like that. That could put them at risk. They might say things like, little kids might say things like, I want to go to sleep and not wake up. Things like that. That's something to look out for. With your teenagers, you might see like grades changing. You might see them, again, sleeping too much, sleeping too little, eating too much, eating too little, having a hard time taking care of self, in terms of hygiene and things like that. But that's also, some of it is kind of normal for that age range too.
Right,
Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's when you kind of put it all together and you look, has anything else changed outside of that person? That's what we call risk factors. Has there been a life change in that person in terms of, like, again, moving house, or they're being bullied, or they lost a relationship, like maybe a significant one, like a friendship or a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Right.
Have those things also happened that can put that person at risk?
Okay.
Yeah.
And also talk to us about the need for training. Do you offer training?
We do offer training, and we offer training throughout the community, so throughout South Carolina, and all of our training is free of charge. We go out to communities that want us, and we provide them information that is best suited for their needs, right? So we don't want to waste anyone's time. We want to give them the right information for them to know how to use it and go out and be able to use it. So a lot of our training focuses on really bringing awareness around suicide prevention and learning how to ask about it to people that might need that question be asked to them.
Exactly.
So we do a lot of trainings. We really encourage parents to also get trained, or schools to bring parents together to get trained around suicide awareness, because a lot of times when there's a suicide, one of the first things we hear from parents is like, I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know my child was hurting like that. And the truth is they didn't. They didn't know, because how can you tend to something you don't know?
Exactly.
You know? So we want people to know what to look for, know what it looks like, and know what to do.
And so they would contact you, whether individual, maybe a school, civic organization,
a community, a church. I mean, we've trained all sorts of people, a hospital, a clinic. I mean, it doesn't matter. The audience could be any group of people that want to know more about this issue.
Okay.
And we will meet you where you're at. So whatever your comfort level is, knowing information, we will try and meet that need to keep you engaged and keep you interested in the issue.
Good stuff. And tell us about your youth advisory board.
So I think that's one of our most exciting parts of what we do, is we have this youth advisory board of young people that come together, and adults are not allowed in it. I mean, we do have young adults, but like, I don't go to it. I'm too old. So, but it's really important to hear what's the need from our youth. Our youth have very strong voices. They have a view of what's happening that most of us don't have access to.
Right.
And so we really want this initiative to be youth-led, that they kind of tell us what direction to go in, what they need, where they need space to kind of share their thoughts, and who they need to talk to. We want to provide that to them. And so this youth advisory board is really to help us start creating that space for young people to feel comfortable and safe doing that. Because they already have great ideas. They already kind of know where the barriers are. And so they just need space to be able to kind of tackle it. So that's what we do, and we encourage youth from across the state to be part of this youth advisory board, because we want people to represent all areas, not just not just Columbia or Charleston, kind of those big. We want representation from across the state, because every voice matters. Right. Every youth out there, what they have to say matters, and we want them in the room to talk to us. And we meet once a month. We usually do activities. Sometimes our young people volunteer to do events like Walks Out of Darkness, which is our walks to prevent suicide and bring awareness around suicide. So we want them to be part of those activities, to have space in those activities, to kind of share what they're going through and what they need. And if anyone's interested, if they could please contact us, we would love to include them in this initiative.
Very good stuff. Need for training, school engagement, your youth advisory board, and again, South Carolina Youth Suicide Prevention Initiative.
Yes.
It's been great having you on, Alex. Your contact information for people who would like to get involved or need more information.
Please contact our social marketing coordinator. Her name's Tiffany. Her telephone number is 803-896-2300, 893-896-2300. And just, before we go, if anyone out there is struggling or needs to talk to someone, please always reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Their telephone number is 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-TALK, which is 8255. So, and you can even text in. You can text them at 741-741-HOME. Text HOME to 741-741. And they're there 24/7.
Okay, and you're also all over social media.
Yes. So if you go to our website, you can find out all our social media links. Click on them, and then you can find out about different events and things that we're doing.
Cool. All right, Alex, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.